Hello! Welcome to Instagram Live. This is Dateability Live. I'm Jess Santosa, your host and your primary dating coach, and I'm so excited to have you because we're going to answer a bunch of questions and we're going to talk about what it means when a guy is interested in you and how to tell. Welcome, Gerson. Thank you for tuning in at 2 p.m. on a Friday. It's Friday the 14th of June. So I just want to get straight into the questions because I know that a lot of you are sort of hanging out for this, and these are questions that you're sort of probably not asking people in the community because there's always a different level of openness that people have when it comes to helping out their single friends. So I wanna bring up the first question because first in, first served. So this is a question about age difference. So the question was something like, there's a 7-year age gap between a girl and a guy. Should they avoid it due to the stigma, or should they just go for it and not care about what other people think? So I hope that I've gotten your question correctly. Person starting with J. Welcome everyone coming in. Cherry Thee, thank you. I don't know what's so funny. Oh, okay, I see. All right. So I'm just gonna go straight into it. And so hi, Missing Convictions. Oh, I love it. People are sending emojis. Send an emoji, send a heart, whatever you want to do. Send me some love. I love that stuff. So age difference, should we avoid or should we go full throttle, go straight into it? So I'm just going to drink some water. I'm sort of rushing around today teaching workshops, and we're going to do some meetups soon today in Sydney, Australia. Okay, not today as in in the not too distant future. Age differences. Okay, so Joseph, I'm answering your question. Very exciting. Hope you don't mind me saying. Okay, so if I'm to be really honest about the whole age difference thing, hi Ellen, I think that two people who are of vastly different ages but are in the same life stage, if they have a really, really great charisma, connection, chemistry, and they want to commit to each other, so all those 4 C's, then I think they should go for it. So maybe they're both in the stage of life where they're working full time, where they have goals for their life. They both want to save up to buy a house, and they're both building their careers. And the girl is 23 and the man is 29 or he's 30 years old. I think that if they're both in the same stage of life, go for it. Now, if you flip that around and the girl is 30 and the guy is 23. So I recently had a client of mine have her 22-year-old love interest. He sort of declared his interest in her, and they were quite close to becoming officially boyfriend and girlfriend, and he broke it off, and she was devastated about it, and she was devastated because she thought that he was the only guy that she'd met in a long time that seemed to have the right elements of chemistry with her. And so I had to challenge her about that and say, you've never been in a relationship before. She was 30, she's never been in a relationship before. I said, you haven't had ample dating experience, and I think that there's plenty of fish in the sea, and you'll have chemistry with lots of guys, not just one guy. So I know that's a bit hard to hear for those of you maybe who haven't had much dating experience, but this is why I advocate for it, because the more dating experience you have, the more you're sort of neutralized in that desire to find a relationship, because you realize that there's lots of people out there, there's lots of opportunity, just as there are in your career for jobs. There's lots of opportunities to find love. Your soulmate could look like any one of the 5 guys you're dating. There's lots of people that could suit you, but it's about finding the best match for you. So that's what I think of that. So same life stage. If you're in a different life stage, what happened to my client was that the guy who was younger, he was 7-8 years younger than her, he just said, I really like you, but I like being 22 and I don't want to steer away from that. And she had to just accept that was his decision, and it was heartbreaking. And I think for her, it came from a lack of experience. I know that's really hard to hear, but it did come from a lack of experience rather than thinking that he was the love of her life. That's my opinion. So that's what I have to say about that. I hope that answers your question, Joseph Jow. Okay, so the next question comes from someone who's asking, a lady who's asking, is it okay to sort of ask my married man friends for like referrals, essentially referrals? So like, asking, hey, do you have any single friends that I can meet? So the answer to that question is yes, it is totally okay for you to ask that. It depends on though, because the second part of this lady's question was, how do I do it in a way that doesn't seem awkward or desperate or needy or not like weird or awkward or desperate? And so my answer to that question is basically you have to gauge. I guess we're all using our emotional intelligence, our social intelligence. We're all always thinking, okay, how is this person receiving me? What is their level of openness to matchmaking? What is their level of openness to, not matchmaking, but connecting people from their different worlds? And so if they're quite open about that, then there's someone who is safe, who is a safe person to ask. So if you feel emotionally safe around this married male friend and you've got a really good vibe going in the friendship with him and his wife, and there's a real understanding of each other, then I would go ahead and ask. But if I've seen some really, I hope you don't mind me saying it, but some really uptight people who are real assholes and who are like, oh, you're so desperate like for a relationship, and I think that you should stop focusing on that. And I'm like, stuff you, like you already have consistent intimacy in your life, and you don't know how it feels to be single at my age. Like and I have a different level of desire for a relationship, and that's for me to figure out. But like, so if there are people like that in your world who have a lot of connections but aren't very, and usually they're not people who are really that well connected anyway, because if they're not that open, then I wouldn't bother with them. But if you feel like this person is open and supportive of me meeting new people, including their friends, and they're supportive and emotionally safe, then I would totally ask them. But people who aren't emotionally safe, I just leave it. And I'd maybe like save it for when you were going to their birthday party and just like sort of mingling at their birthday party. So, Tom and I had our engagement party recently, and we actually didn't give any conscious thought to people getting together, but people did get together at our party. It was a real night of, new romances, which was really exciting for us. That was really great. Yay! Okay, so the third question comes from a lovely lady as well, another lady who's asking about, I find it really hard to meet new Christian guys. And so my answer to that is download the cheat sheet. The link is in my bio, because the woman who, it's not necessarily the woman who is the most beautiful or skinny or a supermodel who's getting asked out on dates, getting asked out on a lot of dates, even though that helps, but it's the woman who is easy to talk to, the woman who starts conversations. And so a lot of my girlfriends who were single, and I could tell that they would be in a relationship really soon, were the ones who were rocking up as the hottest version of themselves, and they knew that, and they were radiant, beautiful women who were very confident in themselves, but they also knew how to start conversations and make anyone feel comfortable. And I knew immediately that they would be asked out in a snap, like they would be snapped up really easily. So if you're that woman, it's only a matter of time for you. And I can often tell when I look at all my single friends or when I look at all my single clients, I can feel when it's a matter of time for them. And then there's, the other stuff that's sort of beneath in the Johari window of things we're not aware of. So, stuff that we don't have self-awareness about, and we sort of need somebody else to give us that feedback. And I had a lot of that when I was single, believe you me. Okay, so how do we know if a guy is interested in us? So for those of you, if we were all in the same room right now, I'd be asking, who read The 4 Types of Men You'll Meet in Dating? Hands up. So if anyone wants to put their hands up, you can. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so if you read The 4 Types of Men You'll Meet in Dating, it is on the cheat sheet that you can download. in the link on my bio, and you can also look at the blog on dateability.io in the blog section. So it's the latest blog. Check it out if you like. You can even jump off this live. I don't really mind. But the 4 types of men you'll meet in dating, and so they are the bachelor. So he's a handsome, charming, good-looking one that always has women surrounding him, and he can be a little bit of a commitment phobe, because he has the babes chasing him quite a lot of the time. Then we have the sniper, who is confident, cool, open to a committed relationship, but has a healthy balance of both confidence in himself, strong center of gravity, and initiative. Takes initiative. When he meets a woman that he likes, he asks her out within like the first or second time of meeting her. Then we have the farmer. The farmer plants seeds in his community, locates one woman he finds he's really attracted to, and then he will ask her out after like maybe 6 to 12 months of getting to know her as a friend. And then we have the sweetheart, and the sweetheart, he tends to sort of worship the ground his ideal woman walks on, and he's a bit of a yes man, and women tend to get turned off by the sweetheart because he doesn't have much of an identity in himself, and there's a lot of work he needs to do in terms of his self-confidence and self-esteem, and probably struggles to market himself, or has a great life, a lot of great things going for him, but doesn't know how to pivot that and market that to the opposite sex. So, okay, so that's a quick summary of the 4 types of men you'll meet in dating. And in terms of how to know if he likes you, the simplest way to answer this question is there is a great alignment of words and actions. Okay, so basically, I'm not saying look for the sniper and just date the sniper. I know I'm engaged to a sniper. I love my sniper man, my sniper fiance. He's amazing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Ellen is a makeup artist, so I'm really flattered by that. I also need to link up with Ellen about my wedding makeup. Anyway, okay. So I don't know if she's talking about that, but anyway. So So how do we know? Perfect alignment of words and action. So a guy who says, oh, you haven't seen the new Marvel movie? I'll take you sometime. And then he follows up with a text and says, hey, if you wanted to go to that movie, yay. If you wanted to go to that movie, I've got tickets next Friday. Are you free? So he's someone who actually turns that into a concrete plan, and that means he's definitely interested in you. And that's unless he says otherwise and says, oh, just so you know, I just see you as a sister in Christ, or I just see you as a friend and I'd love to go as friends. Fair enough. Okay. So he might be a farmer as well. The purpose of the 4 types of man pursuit styles is more for our ability to place them and sort of understand men and their pursuit styles, and not kind of always think, well, if he liked me, then he'd just ask me out. It's well, not necessarily true, because he could be a really slow burn, cautious farmer, or he could be just not as confident as a sweetheart, or he could be a bachelor who's just taking his sweet time because he thinks he's so attractive. So in terms of how a bachelor will express interest in a girl, a bachelor will tend to sort of friend date her a lot, because he knows he's good looking, he knows he'll get the yes for the hangouts, but then in terms of actually stating his intentions, a redeemed bachelor, in very rare cases will, but most bachelors will friend date you for a long time, and then actually having the serious conversation he'll struggle with, but he'll eventually get it out. So if you're currently in a situation, if you're involved with a bachelor, and you think he is someone who is worthy of your patience, and you've prayed about this and you feel peace about waiting for him, then wait for him. But oftentimes it is a case-by-case basis. But if you've been waiting for longer than 2 years, actually, if you've been waiting longer than 6 months, I would say just forget about him. Not okay that he's not taking things forward. If you've been hanging out with him for more than 3 or 4 months as friends, and there's clearly something going on between you two, and you're at his house every weekend, and then you end up snuggling, or you end up making out with him, and then still there's nothing going on. No, I don't accept that. I'm sorry. So it really is the man's job to hunt, chase, and pursue you. And so whatever style he does it in, it he really has to take the lead of progressing things forward into a committed relationship. And if he's not doing that, then he's not worth your time. That's why I guess, yeah, I do have a bit of a bias towards a sniper. In terms of the farmer will also friend date you for a long time, and he will struggle to get the words out, but he won't have that air of cockiness that the bachelor has. You know, the bachelor tends to be a bit like, so I know that we like each other, but you know, like he there's a bit of an ego trip that the bachelor has, but the farmer won't do that. The farmer will maybe the farmer pursued you last year, and then this happened to some friends of mine in my community. So like, you know, he asked her out 12 months ago, and then she went on the date, then she said, no, I'm not attracted to you, but then they stayed friends, and then he was like working on her for months, until he eventually wore her down, and she was like, actually, I'm really attracted to you, and they started flirting again, and now they're together. So that's really cute. So the farmer's sort of in it for the long haul, and he wants to really like friendship date you and really get to know you properly before he does something. And this is probably more prolific with younger guys. It's a prolific pursuit style with the younger guys, because younger guys have that time, whereas men in their like 35 and upwards, 35 to 40, maybe in their 50s, they're probably a lot more decisive and will be a lot more sniper-like. Cool. In terms of the sweetheart, so I'm going to be quite transparent and say that the sweethearts are lovely, except they're not very, there's a lot of confidence building that they need to go on. So building confidence for a sweetheart really needs to happen in their single season, because a lot of them, they rely on a beautiful woman on their arm to make them feel good about themselves. They sort of see her as a trophy, which is not an ideal thing. And so men, if you're watching this and you feel like that's a little bit of me, like I am gravitating towards wanting a woman in my life just so that I can feel validated in myself as a man. You know, I guess that's something that we can talk about, and I'm sorry if I'm hurting anyone's feelings, but ain't that the truth? You know, Mark Manson calls that the difference between neediness and non-neediness, or approval seeking and a strong center of gravity. So the high value man is a man that he doesn't need a woman's approval. Like he likes flirting. Hello, Siddharth. He likes flirting, but he is not doing it for an outcome. He's more just doing it because he enjoys being a single man, and also doesn't want to lead women on if he can feel that she's sort of expecting an outcome out of that. Hope that makes sense. So that's how we know. And so like, I'm going to do a post later tonight about the characteristics of a beautiful man. And the characteristics of a beautiful man are aligned words and actions, and they have emotional intelligence to feel that your body language is flirting with them or not flirting with them, or not into you or into you. They can read signals. They also, you know, as you're dating them, you know, but maybe 2 months in, they'll start introducing you to other people in their life, and they will make you feel like a woman. That is the long and short of it, ladies. A beautiful man makes you feel like a woman, and makes you feel led and pursued, and you feel safe with him. You feel emotionally safe with him. Prue, I answered your question. Okay, so that's basically a wrap, and I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was helpful. So let me know. Slide into my DMs if you want to take advantage of the Love Readiness Assessment, or you can just download the cheat sheet. Link in my bio. Please click on it and take advantage of it. It's only going to be free for a limited amount of time, but they're one-liners that I used, or conversation starters that I used when I was single, and worked for me every time. So it either led into the guy asking me for my number, or it started a relationship, or it started a friendship. But the point is that the more we do this, we exercise our social muscle and ask people ask people a question or we give them a compliment. All this stuff is in the cheat sheet. We actually create more connections and we have a wider choice of dates. We create options in our love life and we watch our romantic world explode. Okay, that's all from me. Thanks guys for tuning in. I'll see you next week. I'll see you next Friday at the normal time of 11 a.m. Okay.